remaining. Dire team done. Seconds remaining. Dire team done. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. Dire team done. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. Dire team pick. 10 seconds remaining.
All right, everyone, welcome back to PGL Bucharest Major 2018. We are here at the very end of the SEA qualifier. This is the grand final between TNC and Execration. It's just a best of 3. These two teams have run the gauntlet all the way through the rest of the qualifier, and here they stand right on the precipice. It all comes down to this. I'm Baseskip here casting for you guys once again, and joining me once again on this journey is Lumi. How's it going, Lumi?
It's doing great. I woke up, play a lot of video games, and
nice.
now I'm here to talk about video games. What a life I live in.
Yeah. Dota 2 video games, or did you play some other
play
video
some card
games?
games? Multiple card games.
Oh, there you go. Well, we got the Phantom Lancer out again. TNC sticking to their guns with this opening. Well, actually, they were picking the Nyx Assassin previously, so they banned the Nyx. Both teams are being quite considered with their opening bans. TNC getting rid of the Bounty Hunter. Even with the bounty removed, still choosing to get rid of the Tinker. They do leave some Execration staples in the pool. The Doom makes it through, the Razor makes it through, but for their first two, they're going to end up opting for the Tiny Brewmaster here.
So if you guys are watching the games from yesterday, we saw both Cuckoo and Raven buy Battle Fury on Phantom Lancer, which is definitely a huge deviation from the norm. You skip the Diffusal Blade, you go to Battle Fury, and I was trying to figure out exactly why. So I had a shower thought, because I think about Dota while I shower, and what it dawned on me is that Diffusal Blade, it's very good when you get it early and you have that power spike with the max lance, with the max phantom rush, Diffusal Blade. You could walk around and get a ton of kills, but then PL really dips in power as the BKB comes out, because you don't affect, like, you actually don't do any damage at all. once the heroes are BKB'd. But if you go to Battle Fury build, what we seen yesterday is that all the cores that are BKB'd,
10 seconds.
PL just doesn't care. Just actually walks up and kill them. And still, it's not as strong as the Diffusal Blaze spike, but it makes your late game that much stronger. And with the Diffusal Blade, you don't get to 25 nearly as fast as the Battle Fury build. It's definitely much more of a late game oriented build, but it really fits the playstyle of TNC because they're not exactly looking to end the game fast. They're looking to camp outside of your base, control the map, kind of acquire a big advantage, and push whenever they're ready. These games have really gone on to like 40-50 minutes. We've seen games, you know, going to the second and third Roshan kill. So I think it really fits the pacing of the game with the Battle Fury build.
Yeah, I like that playstyle as well a lot from TNC to kind of build on that point, because we have seen a reasonable number of games in this SEA qualifier that have gone, the team that actually takes the first lane of Rax ends up being the team that loses the game because they just stall out at that point. And they don't seem to have the momentum to quite completely close it out. So I think being a little bit more considered and thinking about the fact that you do need to still scale into that sort of 40-minute period is something that's quite important, and it seems to be something that TNC are really good at in terms of not being so greedy that they get completely run over, though they did get run over in the one game yesterday, but then still having the tools to kind of farm up and do what they need to in the later stages.
Execration does have the Brewmaster, which we've seen matched up against PL many times now. And of course, the Dispel magic from the Storm region allows you to quickly find out where the real PL is. And Execration does the draft where you pick up all your cores first and save your supports for later. What a way to go.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
I like Medusa a lot. Just sit in front. I mean, sure, she gets tossed up in the air for such a long time, but TNC is working with 2 hyper carries that you have to deal with, and I don't think Brewmaster is enough to control that. But back to the PL point real fast. So I think this would be the game to really see if TNC is gonna go Battle Fury, because Diffusal Blade is amazing this game, and none of these heroes would buy BKB. I mean, Tiny can, Brewmaster can, but they generally won't. So we'll see if it's still going to be a Battle Fury rush, and you know, I have an inkling feeling that it still might, because it just farms you so fast and it ramps you to 25.
Yeah, I would not be too surprised to see it at this point, but I think the other point to raise here is that Darkseer is very much a timing hero as well. I mean, we saw Sam H scale really well on his Darkseer, but to me it also feels like you just want to get that first 1 or 2 items and then go and help your team and use that early game strength. So there is the opportunity to kind of line that up with the Phantom Lancer's timing and be really, really strong through the mid-game portion. You know, you've got a not a super tanky Phantom Lancer necessarily, but he's a decent Ion Shell carrier, which is going to be especially relevant against these Execration heroes. The one thing that worries me a little bit about the Execration lineup, they have quite good damage and they have quite good burst. But I feel as if they don't necessarily have the best sustained damage like after that. So I worry that if TNC tank up and they get enough defensive items on this Darkseer, that's where things could get really difficult for Execration to actually find kills.
I mean, pre-25 for PL, yes. Post-25 pre-PL, they have all the damage in the world. So it comes down to which stage of the games you're taking a fight in. And also currently they don't really have the best way to prevent the Brewmaster from getting off a split. Bane technically has 2 spells to do it, but neither of them are really reliable, especially in the face of a Puck and Disruptor. So I wonder if TNC will pick up something for that. and looks like they respect ban out the Raven Timbersaw, which actually went Super Saiyan yesterday. It was insane.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was so good. It was very, very good showing from TNC. I mean, all the games that they played yesterday, I feel like TNC played some very solid Dota. In terms of your overall expectations for this series, Lumi, what are you thinking?
2-0 TNC.
2-0 TNC, yeah. I'm thinking along the same kind of lines. TNC just look much stronger. I mean, you I think half joked yesterday that TNC versus Fnatic really was kind of the grand finals. Yeah, no, Ember Spirit. All right, this is a PL counter for sure, but that now means that we have a position for Tiny or Brewmaster, right?
Or Puck.
I mean, position for Puck would be so weird.
EG ran position for Puck before, so
okay.
I mean, you gotta think that Execration is literally Lumic and 4 other position 2 players, right? Like Raging Potato used to be a 2 or a 1 even. So you give him a hero like Puck or Tiny or a Brewmaster, he'll be able to play it. I guess that is one of the benefit of having a roster like this.
Yeah. So what do you think their best way to set the lanes is then? Like, what
I think they still have. I think they still have the ability to change even now, right? You see the last pick. If it's a hero that does very well on Puck, you move him on support, and then you like put the Tiny mid and Brewmaster offlane. And then if it's a very good matchup against Tiny, then you could put him on support. I don't know currently what they're thinking in terms of who is really the support, but the strength of the draft is that you can still switch even at this moment, which is really cool. Not something you see, ever actually.
I'm wondering how TNC grab more lockdown. I think that's what they're looking at here, right? They're like, oh, we don't, like you've been saying, they don't have great ways to interrupt the split. They don't have really good ways to lock down the Puck. They don't really have amazing ways to lock down the Ember. Something like a Void kind of comes to mind, but then its synergy with the rest of the TNC lineup is, I mean, it's not awful, right? You've got the Darkseer to move people around inside the Chrono or vac people in, so long as you play it properly, the Phantom Lancer should still be able to do some damage into a Chronosphere, but it makes their lineup a bit weird and can be kind of hard to play against the Puck and the Disruptor. So, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, most of the carries that have stuns are like Sven and Wraith King, but you don't really want to pick it into a Brewmaster because you don't want to spend all your time up in the air. Storm Spirit might be an interesting pick, but looks like it's going to be a Death Prophet, which, I mean, check some of the boxes. You do have a Disable, but will it be enough?
Yeah, the silence is going to be helpful. This is another, I mean, I guess I talked yesterday about feeling like the Death Prophet kind of falls off as a hero, but it ended up being that Death Prophet was A-okay scaling into the later stages, so not necessarily 100% in with this sort of timing push necessarily. I do like the Death Prophet a lot more when you're picking it with defensive supports. When you have like a Dazzle or an Oracle or something that just lets the Death Prophet play however she wants in fights, and then still have that little bit of extra survivability to back her up. I mean, the Bane is kind of a defensive support, but not nearly on the same level as some of the healers. So.
I think the really nice thing about Clockwork is that normally when he throws down the power cogs, it really messes up with his allies, especially the melee heroes. But I think Death Prophet in particular doesn't really care. In fact, she might sometimes even want to be trapped in the cogs. And then of course PL is so mobile, he could get out of the cogs if he wants. So I think the Clockwork as a both offensive and defensive support has really nice synergy in this game.
Yeah, so it is going to be position 4, Raging Potato Brewmaster. We've got the offlane Puck, mid Ember Spirit, Lumic of course on his Disruptor, and then we've got a safe lane Tiny played by Nando. Over on the TNC side, it was a little bit easier to predict their lanes. We got Tim's on the Clockwork, Cuckoo's going to be on the Death Prophet heading mid, Darkseer, Sam H in the off lane. We'll see if he can live up to his #1 net worth performance yesterday. We got Raven on the Phantom Lancer, and we got 1437 finally on the Bane.
So Raging Potato starts out with Boots and it's just a sheer tango. Boots Stout Shield. We've been seeing a lot of these kind of bruiser melee supports been getting a lot more items. Pilot Eye yesterday went Salve double Salve
Stout. Yeah, and Tangos, and I think he had a Clarity in there as well. So is the intention here just to play with the puck and be a big bully? I mean, the puck's even got an Orb of Venom picked up in his starting items. So to me, that suggests that they're looking to really run at this bottom lane, potentially.
Yeah, they want to shut down Raven in the lanes. Oh. Raven quickly walks away from those trees. Don't want to be near there. And of course, we're going to see the best ward ever. Blocks the camp and sees nothing.
Yeah. It's a
I mean, I guess you could cut this tree and see a lot, but then it kind of gives away that there might be a ward there.
That would be super suspicious, I think. But yeah. Well, for now,
you just take a fight around here, and then you just tangle that tree nonchalantly, you know?
Yeah. Is the spawn box of this camp big enough that you can't cover the whole thing with one sentry ward? Because a lot of these camps these days are small enough that a single sentry, even outside of the camp, covers the whole thing, right? Which is made.
Sure, there's like some edge. Like I think, well, I can't ping on the map or draw on the map right now, but I'm sure some of the corners you can't cover. I actually haven't sat down and tested yet, so I'm not sure.
This is something that I should know, but I don't know for the specific camp. Oh yeah, what's gonna happen down bottom here? Execration. Do you think they try and steal the wave, or do you think they just try and run right at Raven at level 1?
I don't think you need to steal the Rave, because Raven by himself won't be able to do anything against this Brewmaster. And in fact, I think the idea of the Stout Shield is that it allows him to kind of harass in the wave alongside his puck. So that's probably what's going to happen. I say that though, they are very well poised to actually pull the lane.
Nope, gonna be backing themselves up now. Looks like no interest in that from Execration. We got a double bounty for the Ember, double bounty for Cuckoo on his Death Prophet. And I'm interested to see how this matchup goes. I think this is actually a really good matchup for the DP. So we'll see how Execration kind of manage that. TNC just cutting the wave, not even stealing it. They're just farming it right here. Tim's and Sam H. I think they want to. Oh, they want to go under the tower with their wave. All right, there you go. Nando, what's he gonna do here? He can't clear the wave nearly fast enough. The battery assault's coming in. TNC just giving them the move click. They're not even aggroing the tower. They're just letting the creeps do it. The TP's coming in from Lumik, trying to help out. Another Ion Shell coming up. Tim's now laying in with the auto attack. So that's just first blood. TNC with the punish.
I mean, to me, that's actually Nando's mistake. Like, he came out fully not respecting the fact that they can't make that tower. Like, he could have probably sat in the trees and reserved Tango to cut out from the other side, and he honestly would be 100% safe, but...
Yeah, walking into the wave was not helpful at all. 147 taking some damage down bottom, but he does have the Enfeeble over on the puck, so not really taking much damage there. Raven actually finding some pretty decent CS, and the wave is pushing forward, so a little bit of space. Unfortunately for 147, his pull camp has been blocked, so he's not going to be able to reset the lane position too well, and we'll just have to keep on fighting this one out, it looks like.
Yeah, so the presence of the Brewmaster on the bottom lane forces the Bane to go there, and that means it gives the middle lane a fair 1v1 matchup for Cuckoo versus Carl. Honestly, the Ember still loses this lane, but he at least gets something out of it. If the Bane had been here, Carl actually doesn't even see the creeps.
Did he get the Slighted Fist level 1 to dodge?
Cancel the South? No, he
maybe
cancel like a South. Yeah.
Probably.
No, he did. I saw it.
They did?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Well, he's taking a bunch of damage now, but and there's a regen. Oh my god, there's a regen rune for Cuckoo. He didn't even use that much mana before he found it. But...
Nope.
All right.
There you go. Sleight of Fist cancels it again. The value.
He's not really approaching the wave though. That's a bit problematic. The wave is pushing in quite a bit. Nando gonna get the avalanche off, preventing Tim's from getting in, but there's the surge. There's also a cog available. Tim's just going in with the battery assault for the time being. Nando does not actually have a toss. Tim's pops down the cogs, does not get Nando inside of it, and now a little bit of a turnaround as Lumik comes over. They're gonna harass Tim's a bit, but I don't know if they actually get this kill. There's an avalanche. He does have the tree grab, in fact. They might bring him down. He's got the boots. They can't lob the tree at him. The range creep's getting in the way. And he will be able to escape. Oh, and meanwhile at mid, Cuckoo is in between the tier 1 and the tier 2, almost finishing off Carl. That last auto attack, not quite enough. He's baiting him a little bit with these wand charges, in fact.
So Ember Seer is a hero that we haven't seen lately, and there's a couple of reasons why, as Carl, who pops that magic wand and survives the nuke. The lack of PMS makes melee mid much harder to come by. You pretty much have to be like Dragon Knight or Tiny to actually stand mid against some of the ranged heroes, because you eat so much harass.
Is Tiny even a melee hero?
No, actually Tiny's like a 400 range hero, pretty much.
Yeah.
And then also, obviously they change, you know, they nerf Battle Fury quite a bit, and they nerf some of the magic build of Ember quite a bit as well. So Ember as a hero is just not really good right now.
Yeah, he's just been hurting. But this is potentially one of Ember's best matchups against the PL. You go for the physical build, which it does seem like he's going for just based on the Aquila that he's got queued up at the moment. So likely looking at the Battle Fury. It is going to take some time to come online, but I suppose that's where the Brewmaster and the Puck are really supposed to come in. They're going to be the big playmakers. And it's not like Ember going for... It doesn't matter really what build you go for. You can still make an impact, right? Your spells are just so good for ganking in the early stages.
I think the spell build lets you make an earlier impact, and the spell builds are generally the best way to recover when you have a start like this. Because honestly, it doesn't matter that he's doing very poorly. It might matter now as Tim's comes around.
Yeah, they got him slowed down, a couple of auto attacks. All they needed to do is drive him back towards Cuckoo. I don't think they even really needed any damage from Tim's there.
Yep.
And yep. Where Carl is dead, getting doubled up on the CS. Not a good look. Also going to lose both of these range creeps to the tower. Pretty sad story for him. He was really waiting for that experience delivery. And down bottom, Raven still getting harassed, but doing okay.
As I was saying earlier about Carl, like all he really needs to do is get level 6, go to a lane and triple remnant and get a kill. And he's kind of back in the game.
Yeah. Or they could just rotate one of the supports over to mid, right, and try and get the DP with that same move.
Yep.
Initiating that might be a little bit tough. Lumic's actually doing all right in terms of levels. Oh, another attempt, perhaps here. They're going to surge forward Tim's. Lumic going to go for the glimpse back. It does throw him inside of the cogs. That's just going to be able to farm for Lumic on his way back. But TNC still applying hella pressure up here at top. It doesn't really showing up too much in the tiny CS. Nando doing pretty well for himself. Do have to give him some props for that. This is not an easy lane to be playing against, and he's actually neck and neck with the Darkseer.
Again, Tiny is just a hell of a laner.
Yeah, he's a good hero. You can certainly see why teams are prioritizing him. He just seems overall quite versatile, has a couple of different builds, scales reasonably well, well, has a decent impact at all points of the game. I feel like the new incarnation of Tiny does maybe scale off a little bit compared to some older, like the older version with the old Ags, but still not too shabby.
He just comes online that much quicker. Like, you don't need to get the Ags. You could always have the option to buy Blink Dagger and play for your team. Whereas the old Tiny, you have to make the hard decision. Okay, do I buy Axe and play for myself, or do I buy Blink? And by the time you make that decision, the game could just, you know, change very rapidly.
Surging Tim's forward, Nando, nice Avatos combo back and keep Tim's at bay, but Sam H still closing in on him. They were saving the battery assault. They knew that toss combo was going to happen, and now they bring in Cuckoo. The toss goes out, but Nando, I think he's still dead. Can they finish him off? A little bit more damage. They definitely needed that rotation from the DP, I think, to find that kill, but it worked out pretty nicely.
So by comparison, if you look at both teams off lane, the Execration, Panda, and Puck hasn't really done anything. I mean, sure, the PL isn't farming well, that's for sure. If you even compare to the CS of the Tiny versus PL, the PL is actually very far behind, despite the fact that Tiny has been the one that's dying. That's mostly thanks to the Drunken Haze, but Raven will be able to catch back up, and looks like we are not going to see the max Phantom Rush build, which I still don't really get the idea of. TNC is going to Galaxy Battle, right? I'm gonna have to ask them, what is this madness?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, that's true. We can ask them about it. I guess the idea is that it is actually a decent farming spell, right? Moving from camp to camp pretty quickly with a 4-second cooldown and the bonus Agi actually speeds up your farm rate if you go for the Battle Fury build. Raging Potato under the tower, now tanking some shots. Is still pretty tanky. Tim's only level 4. Can they slow him down? I don't know if the Spirit Lance is going to be enough, but Tim's wants to try for it. It is going to take him a second to activate the battery assault, and that might be all the window that Raging Potato needs. Nope. Actually, now with another Spirit Lance slow coming through, Tim's just going to cut him off. He does manage to grab the bouncer room, but looks like Raging Potato 100% dead. Raven just going to snag that last hit, keep himself afloat in terms of farm. But things looking really good in this early game for TNC. Almost a 2k net worth lead, 1.5k experience, 4 kills. They've got Lumic here on the mid lane, it looks like. Kinetic Field's going to get dropped down. Raging Potato arrives. He also just takes a Spirit Siphon for his troubles. This Death Prophet doing a lot of work in the early game for TNC. Yeah, I mean, this tier 1 tower top is already gone as well. So that's the big source of the net worth lead, I suppose. But doesn't show any signs of stopping.
That and the fact that Sam H was able to farm both the lane and the jungle camp very efficiently. I mean, you see, they're either double iron shelling the creeps in lane, or they're doing it to the jungle, and they're getting so much gold from it.
Oh my god, Raging Potato just getting chased all the way away from his tier 1 tower by Cuckoo. Looks like they might... Oh, okay. I was about to say they might not even need the Exorcism to get this one, but Cuckoo just gonna pop it, does get glimpsed back in. He's a little bit low on life, does need to be careful about tanking any tower shots. As Creep Wave's doing the job for him at the moment, and Tim's also willing to help out. The Ember Spirit is on his way in. He's got that triple remnant, but he's gonna get bounced back by the cogs. The Spirit Siphon coming in, and Carl unwilling to commit too heavily into the Exorcism. He could die super fast, and his Flame Guard actually got knocked off really quickly.
Well, it is not surprising that Execration is actually getting roughed up in this early game. They picked up pretty greedy of a lineup, essentially 4 cores, and all of these cores don't really come online until much later. If you check over to Tiny, he's got a Midas queued up. I mean, I guess he knows what's up. Catch up Midas?
Oh, you mean the Brewmaster or the Tiny?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Brewmaster. Yeah.
But yeah, he's had that queued up since the beginning of the game. He's actually had this entire build queued up in his quick buy. He had the Tranquils, the Soul Ring, and the Midas, all all lined up one after the other. So yeah, Raging Potato knows exactly what his game plan is. Picks up the Tome now. He's also got an Invis, so he could use the Tome, and get the Primal Split. Yeah, or clap Primal Split. And maybe find a kill somewhere. Alright, nope, he's just got farm on the brain. Gonna take that mid wave, maybe feeling like he just doesn't have anybody to link up with. They do have the Puck Dream Coil ready to go as well. And I feel like Execration, if they don't make some kind of gank happen in the next couple of minutes, that's somewhat of a missed timing for them, right? You've got the Triple Remnant ready to go on the Ember, you got the Dream Coil on the Puck, and you've got the Primal Split on the Brewmaster. It's not easy for you to set it up necessarily, but it's a ton of damage, a ton of control, and you would hope that it can at least find you 1 or 2 kills somewhere.
The thing right now, if you look at the way that TNC's farming, they're doing it very safely. Bottom lane, double Iron Shell, push out the wave, you can't really make it go. Ooh, smoke got broken here, so
instantly broken.
Yeah, but DP is still smoked up. Whereas top lane, PL is farming, but he's also like a very hard catch, so I don't think you could even go for him. So TNC does recognize the fact that Execration is very strong at this point in the game, and they're just not allowing Execration to find that opening.
Oh, Static Storm, Kinetic Field, catching the Phantom Lance. They glimpse him outside of it. Now he's able to just pop the Doppel. Nando chasing after him, but Lumic with a bit of a misstep there on the glimpse. Oh man. Alright. Phantom Lancer is actually maxing the Phantom Rush, by the way, and going for the Battle Fury. So it looks like this is just the build. Like, if it's a TNC Phantom Lancer at the moment, it is a max Phantom Rush, Battle Fury buying Phantom Lancer.
A lot of things to ask about.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate. Oh, I guess it's not unfortunate, but the fact that their build has deviated quite a bit from the standard build in terms of what they go for afterwards probably makes it a little bit harder to compare the timings between the two. Like, it would be really interesting to know how it, how the like Manta style timing compares, or the Heart timing. So we haven't seen Heart as much. You know, these TNC Phantom Lancers have been going for like an intermediate high tier item and then thinking about the Heart.
It's been going Scotty, I believe, every single game, right? I mean, It's a
Pretty much.
strong...
Went Abyssal Blade in the third game yesterday.
Yeah.
Carl's just going for some BOTs, so I mean it's not really one build or the other just yet. He's not really committed. Nando gonna get Fiend's gripped. I mean he does have a little bit of status resistance, but it's not gonna save him here. He gets the avalanche off, but Tim's quickly finishes him off. Wait, didn't get any... Oh, did his urn just get delivered after that kill? I was like, why does he not have any urn charges? But yeah, looks like it unfortunately just got delivered. But TNC will have their sights set on this tier 2, and Execration still just kind of twiddling their thumbs over on the other side of the map. They're not threatening a building. They can't really against the Darkseer. SamH just hiding in the trees and spamming ion shells. And looks like it's just going to be a kill in a tower absolutely for free. TNC are walking away with this game, Lumi.
Yeah, I just feel like Execration with their lineup have really little counterplay to anything. The only spell, again, offensively that they could use are like Puck, Coil, and the triple Remnant. And I guess you could add Static Storm and Glimpse on that list, but pretty much all their damage right now is just the Puck nukes and then Remnants. And they both have to be at the same place to actually get a kill. And I feel like we're rapidly getting to a point that TNC probably doesn't even die to that combo.
Yeah, they do have the Blink Dagger up now on the Puck, so Execration moving for something. They're going to throw a scan out underneath this tower. They know exactly where SamH is, but seemingly just cannot do anything about it. SamH is going to be going for the Dominator build again. Yeah, the wave is all the way under their tower.
Yeah. He just iron shells the creeps as they run by.
1437 invis. He's got Fiend's Grip in a few seconds. Spots out Carl, but nobody is really nearby to help him out, so looks like this might just end up being some scouting. I don't know if anyone can really get down here. Execration showing a bunch of heroes in the lane to shove it underneath the tower. I like this ward positioning a lot from Lumik. He's really hoping to set up for a fight down here and then get a glimpse off. You know, turn it into a 4v5. Maybe that's how Execration can win a fight in this situation, because it is going to be tough. If the Death Prophet gets her ultimate off and is able to run in, I don't know what they do at that point. Cuckoo's already level 13. He's got himself a Yules. He won his lane. They knew the matchup. They knew exactly what they were putting him up against, and he's since gone and, you know, won top, claimed a bunch of these towers, and really set his team up for success.
Well, Puck has just decided to cut the wave since he actually can't. I mean, both teams are cutting wave, and now Darkseer is going to send a creep forward and cut it with his own creep. This is Dota's becoming some next level stuff now.
Yeah, it's interesting how quickly like cutting waves has just become a huge, like cutting and shoving waves has become a much bigger part of the game than even just a few years ago. Like the sense of safety of like even being in the middle of fog of war, no vision, but still knowing that the enemy team is probably too far away to stop you cutting a wave quickly. They're gonna toss in on top of Tim's Raging Potato. Threatens the ultimate, doesn't need to pop it just yet, but he does actually get silenced up. Can they burst him in time? They might be able to. Raging Potato's dead. Tim's is still alive. So 1-for-1 so far. The Static Storm kinetic field getting dropped down, but it's just not doing any damage in the face of this Death Prophet, who now runs forward. Carl out of spirits. They're gonna nightmare him up. He's also dead. The Silence doing so much work in that fight. Yaj looks like he should be able to escape, but that ends up being a 3-0. Execration. That was not the fight that they were hoping for underneath that enemy tier 1 tower.
No, steals the regen here, but Yaj might pay for it. He doesn't have Orb. His Blink's being cancelled right now. He can't phase, but it's a very short phase because it's low level, and I don't think that regen rune was worth it. Cuckoo now picks up yet another kill. And the damage issue, we just saw it there, right? The Brewmaster split doesn't go off, but Puck couldn't land his spells, and Ember, well, I don't know whether he landed his. And as a result, it was a pretty decent idea of tossing the Brewmaster in, but then the battery assault just made him look silly.
Yeah, that was not a good look. I mean, they did lose Tim's in the end, but he's already quite tanky. Has the VIP booster picked up for his Spirit Vessel. And Execration, what are they gonna do? Are they even gonna take a tier 1 tower this game, Lumi? I'm starting to even question that. Like, they just can't seem to win a fight. Exorcism's down for 60 seconds. This should, in theory, be the window for Execration. They've got the Static Storm back up in 2 seconds time. They want to make something happen, but they seemingly just can't push. Carl's getting run at by Raven, taking some damage. Is going to queue up his own Battle Fury after these BOTs. So that's maybe the one remaining hope for Execration, is that they can just get a super fat PL and they can kind of carry them. They are going to go onto the Clockwork once again. Tim's taking damage, but he's super tanky. The Static Storm also getting dropped, potentially just where he Drake's the coil, managing to run back through. They popped a lot for that kill. TNC still hiding inside the trees. Sam H, 3 points up in the vacuum. Primal Split going to get popped. Raven might now arrive, just working on the Pandas. Doesn't have a care in the world. Actually might even be able to bring down the Storm Brilling. They send the Tiny up into the air, vacuum him back. No mana left. Gets Fiends gripped up. And that is going to be the end of him. And they just got the, once again, just the Clockwork kill. Carl does get some damage on the mid-tier one, but that's it.
They just don't have damage. They don't have really nuke damage. I mean, apart from the Brewmaster and Ember, but again, it's just...
And poor Raging Potato, I mean, he pops the Shrine, but that's just bonus value for TNC on that kill. Oh, man. And now what? Hook gonna catch across over onto Yaj and his puck. He doesn't get the phase shift off, but it's only level 3, and now he gets pushed back by the cogs before his Blink Dagger comes back off cooldown. TNC not even having to really... I mean, they're playing well, but they don't even have to bring everybody to find these picks. Just kind of farming Execration across the map.
Yeah, they have such a big goal lead, item lead, that unless Execration bring, you know, twice the member that TNC has, they're not gonna get the kill.
Nando's spotting out Sam H here. I don't think he has the damage to combo him down. His Shadow Blade's gonna end up fading, so Sam H is gonna get out. This is one of those situations where the Disruptor, when you're behind, feels insanely weak, right? Like, yep, nobody's dying. He doesn't really bring that much damage. They're running in your face, so nobody cares about Glimpse. Like,
I think that Satyr Banisher with the Iron Shot might have been able to kill him. Like, no joke. Run it next to Darkseer or Disruptor, purge him.
Yeah, purge him every 5 seconds. Oh, alright, Tiny's going for a blink. Ember still 1 item away from completing his Battle Fury. Carl actually farming reasonably quickly, but I think that's just because he's been, like, has actually been able to move around a little bit and hit some creeps. 1437 with yet another Invisor, and they do have an Observer Ward up here on the high ground scouting the movements of the Ember.
I mean, Ember, yes, is farming well, but the hero just needs so much before he could do anything, and that's why I'm not as big of a fan of the physical Ember, because you just come online so much later. He has BOTs and almost a finished Battle Fury, but guess what? He's not ready to fight yet. Like, he needs maybe another item on top of that to even
they found the puck once again. Yaj able to jaunt himself a little bit further out. He's got the phase shift, should be able to blink, but Raven cutting down those trees. Is the Rocket Flare going to scout him? No. Alright, looks like he should be okay. So Raven straight back to farming, working straight towards Manta. They get the grip over onto the Brewmaster. He's silenced up. They do manage to cancel the grip from 1437, but it just does not matter. They're moving wherever they want. Raven's pushing top, rest of the team pushing down mid. They do finally end up losing the tier 1 at bottom, but they'll happily take the tier 2 in exchange, it looks like. And maybe, are they just going to head straight into Roche? Maybe pop an Exorcism for it?
Looks like Sam H doesn't have his standard Solar Crest. Does Death Prophet have one? No, not either.
No. I guess they don't feel like they don't really need it. I do like the pipe a lot this game, even just in terms of, you know, potentially saving somebody from getting bursted by the Tiny. Almost all the damage on Execration, at least for now, is still magical, right? Yeah. Carl is kind of picking up some physical damage, but...
Yeah, the Death Prophet also has a hood. I don't think she'll upgrade it into a pipe or anything, but it's quite good of a survivability against the Remnants. In fact, the Remnants, I keep talking about them. Have we even seen them yet?
I don't think it's done anything really. He's pretty much just using them for, like, just farming at this point. Well, not even using them to farm, but it's just safety. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have that have the panic button ready to go.
Cuckoo buys a very early BKB, so this is, to me, just slamming the door shut on Execration. It's like, hey, we have no comeback potential. It's gonna be a long while before Execration can deal enough physical damage to kill Cuckoo.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be tough.
Tower is under
What do you think he goes for next? Octarine, Shivas?
BKB
I guess he's got the
Shivas.
plate mail. Yeah. Yeah.
BKB Shivas is always a very good way to go about it.
Yeah, it just makes you insanely difficult to kill.
tower is under attack.
Alright. Raven, once again, going to be going for that Scotty. This seems to be TNC kind of settling into their... Primal Split's being popped bottom, but I think this is more to try and save the Brewmaster than it is to get any kills. And the hookshot is actually off cooldown, so I would anticipate that Tim's going to try for that once he pops out. Raging Potato, is he going to be able to escape? 1437. Maybe doesn't want to use the Fiend Script. Nice Rocket Flare, going to scout him just a little bit, and now they get the hook in. Raging Potato looking 100% dead. Just going to be some Spirit Vessel charges for the Clockwork. And they'll go join the rest of the team in pushing in this bottom tier 2. It's the last outer tower on the map, and it seems like TNC are just moving into their holding pattern, right? Where they sit, they farm a little bit. They are hitting quite a strong timing. They've got the level 3 Exorcism ready to go in a couple of seconds, so maybe they'll force down the tier 3. But they're so good in this situation. They're so good at playing from ahead.
I mean, they still have Aegis up, right? So
Yeah. I think they can quite easily go high ground here. They know that the Primal Split is also on cooldown. Cuckoo getting comboed, gets tossed out of the Static Storm. It's actually going to just prevent the rest of the team from coming over, but Cuckoo pops the BKB and just runs in. He's going through everybody. They cancel the TP out on the Tiny. He's going to be finished off. Execration trying for a cute play, isolating the Death Prophet from her team, but it just does absolutely nothing. Cuckoo laps it off, and they go straight onto the lane of Rax, looking like it is going to be probably like a 25-26 minute GG in game 1 maybe.
oh, it could be right now, man. Raging Potato in a lot of trouble. He's gonna get brought down. Puck getting pushed back. Silence and gripped. They're touching him every other way. TNC will get the tier 3. Exorcism has ended, but they could just right click it down. That is 2 lane of racks with 1 Exorcism. That's what I call value.
Yeah, that's this is a real get out of my game moment, I think, from TNC. They don't have to go anywhere. They're all healing up. Look at the Darkseer's HP regen. He's got 50.1 HP regen. Picks the 12 HP regen talent as well. He's not going anywhere. Raven still has the Aegis. Mega Creep's coming up 25 minutes in. Yeah, all Execration can do is watch.
A pretty poor draft by Numic.
Yeah, I feel like they outdrafted themselves a little bit. Just with the lineup. Oh, the silence coming out before the Primal Split can even be used. Nando tossing his teammates into their death. There's a good game well played being called, but not before Lumic hits the ground. Raging Potato coming back in. Once again, he's being Nightmare. Can he get the ultimate off? No. They just won't even let him. The Ancient explodes before he can even get it off. And Brewmaster sits there dejected. Poor Execration just got completely manhandled here in game 1.